So let me just start off really quick with obviously I'm the person who's actually communicating right now in regards to the mentorship activities. You've received quite a few maybe emails and things from me, maybe more than normal over the last week or so because I just started was directed to kind of be the person who's handling the mentorship activities right now. John, who was handling them, is now a volunteer mentor, which is why he's on and not talking like he normally is. I just want to give a quick update because I think you should know, as far as our organization is concerned, we run to the same issue that many organizations, not just in Minnesota, across the country, has run into in terms of financial support for our programming. What we had in the past, we know we were allocated $2 million, and we're in a bill from the Senate that allowed us to do our work. What has happened is that obviously the 2 years has gone by. We had $1 million for each year, which was plenty for us to do our work. We had gridlock in the Senate. We had this 50, this something that doesn't happen hardly ever where it's a 50-50 split in the Senate. So they argued and fought all the way up until the time that they were actually going to have to, what do they call it when I forget, the government does it all the time when I was working for the government. They were going to have to shut that, then have a government shutdown. So instead of shutting down, they took all the funds and they told Department of Education, what is it, is Employment and Economic Development, to take these billions of dollars and now have everybody compete with RFPs. So, of course, when the money would have been allocated under normal circumstances, we would have been allocated in June. We would have started our work in July. We're now in a situation where we have to compete for these funds, and try to see where our program fits in with these different opportunities that they put out for to get funding. So the long and short of it is, um, from a financial standpoint, that money is pretty much will be used up by September. They had to make some decisions because we don't know if we're going to get a dime of that money because we have to compete for it. We're in the process of actually, waiting for those RFPs to come through, reading through them, and see if there's some place that we can fit in. What we're finding is that for the most part, we can fit in, but we'd have to fit in with maybe someone else who does something else that's part of the RFP. It's an interesting process, and I just thought that it's fine for you. You're part of our organization. You folks have volunteered your time, and I think it's important that you kind of know kind of what's happened and what's going on. If somebody gives us $1 million tomorrow, John and the others would get them back immediately, and we start business as usual and continue to build from there. But at this time, we are actually it was a learning lesson for us that we should continue to fundraise for unappropriated funds constantly so that we don't run into this at some point in time. If we had a reserve that we could hang on to and just hang in there for the next 2 years while we do these RFPs, then it'd be a whole nother ballgame. We wouldn't have to worry about people being here that I believe that should be here, right? I mean, we
Odell,
don't have a we don't. Yes, sir.
how soon will you have the answer to your question?
We're working on it right now. Those RFPs, it will probably be about 6 months before we find out whether we're able to get
Oh,
those
man.
RFPs. Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah, it
Um,
is.
with that being said, I don't want to take up all the time with with this speech here, but I just thought it was important for you to kind of know where we are. If some rich person gives us, 10 million, $1 million, we're good. We're working on it. Dwight is actually doing daily work with reaching out to people for unappropriated funds because it's just easier when somebody says, "Here's the money. I see what you're doing. I see you do it well. Go do your work." Right? But that's not the case just yet. He's working on it. We're working on it. Brad is diligently working with those RFPs and reaching out to to Deed, pertaining to the contracts that we believe we're eligible for, that we're able to that we can get. And I'll keep you updated on that. And if something happens like tomorrow, something, I'm gonna email all of you and say, hey, this is what happened. We're doing well. and we can get back to normal business. Right now, it is not normal business. It is a lot of work where guys have actually all the staff who stayed took pay cuts, right, to make sure we keep the budget going and to obviously on more work because we have less staff. It's unfortunate. Like I said, we don't have a programmatic problem. We have an excellent program that's second to none, and it's very unique, very original. We have a money problem. We have an issue with the money. It has nothing to do. The work is working like it's supposed to. We're meeting our goals in terms of affecting recidivism through employment and with the mentoring and the education. There's nobody else in the country doing what we do. I may have told you that 100 times, but I think that that's important for you to know that we're involved in something extremely unique that is working. And we had a bipartisan bill when they did this. The issue was we didn't get a chance to go in and talk to anybody about what the outcomes were after 2 years of work. If we had an opportunity to do that, I'm about positive we would have probably been appropriated and written into a bill to give us much more money than what we had the last time, which would have just allowed us to continue to do the work and increase our capacity to work with individuals who are in need and have been in that recidivism cycle for long periods of time. So just want to get just note on that. On that note, I would just want to check in and just ask. I know Melina's new, so she wouldn't have any. Does anybody have anything pressing or any questions that you have regarding what I'm talking about, or any questions in regards to your mentor, your mentees? I was informed that some folks say that they may not be totally comfortable about talking about everything of what their mentors are talking to. They feel like some things should be kept confidential. I want you to know this is not to talk about any and everything that your mentors may share with you. If you have things that are confidential that you don't think should be shared in this forum, don't. I'm more interested in if there's some things that you think that some may be going on that you may be dealing with or working with somebody that you may be able to get the answer when we come together. Then please share that because someone may have had a same or similar experience, or we might be able to help you with that. Lastly, you don't have to wait till the third week this consortium to reach out to me. I'm assuming I'm assuming everybody has my email address because I've emailed everybody. You can email me, and I'm gonna make sure everybody has my direct telephone number too, in case anything comes up at any time. You can give me a call if you need to bounce some things off me. I'd be more than happy to discuss with you. I think everybody knows I was a probation officer for 26 years before I came to the Redemption Project. So some of the issues or concerns that come up about just everyday life and rules and regulations, I'm pretty familiar with those things, and um, want to make sure that you know that I'm available, for you to reach out to me. So
I have a
go ahead,
question.
Franny.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
I'm Franny. Thank you for that, Adele. I appreciate everything you said. I have a question about my mentee. He's up in Moose Lake. He was in the program before, and he got out, and now he's back in. And he is wondering if he's still, with the Redemption Project, but he doesn't have his book and working on the things that he was working on. And he's wondering, would he be able to get one sent to him?
Yeah. So Franny so he got out and he went back. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
And now he's in Moose Lake.
yeah.
Um, absolutely. We can get him a book, right? We
Yeah,
just need to. What's
I
just
It's
get us
it's
his name and we can
Charles
find him.
Charles Cherry.
okay.
Oh, okay.
That would be
Yep.
super.
That Yeah, that's not a problem. In fact, I thought we were trying to get him one when he was in
St. Cloud.
Anoka. Was
He,
was he in St. Yeah, when he was
he was
in
in
St.
St.
Cloud.
Cloud. I visited him up there. Yeah, maybe it has been, and now he's in Moose Lake, and he'll be there for a while. But he's really doing great and working lots of programs, and
Good.
um,
Excellent.
he would like another book so he can continue with the group and not get far behind and things like that.
Okay. No, that that would be that's not a problem. I know we had discussed getting him something. We may have sent it, and the way things happen with those
Ah,
systems, they don't allow people to take stuff out, the stuff with the
yeah.
paper and all that. I mean, it's a mess, but we have no problem
Okay,
sending him another one. None at
great.
all. And I know he was talking about actually, working on it and working using it with the other men in the facility. So that would be great. That'd be wonderful. No problem.
Thank you. I'll let him know.
Okay. Okay. Quick question for those who are online now. So we have the consortiums once a month. I know I want to continue to encourage you to send the weekly mentor reports. If you can't do it weekly, or I know sometimes you have people who may not reach out as often. If you could do it maybe bi-weekly, and if not that, just at least once a month. Send me a weekly report. If you can do it weekly, that's great. But the reason for that is I'm going to get those. I'll be able to see if you have any issues or concerns. And I make it my a concerted effort to get back to you within 24 to less than 48 hours. I want to make sure if there are issues or concerns that we get on that we deal with them right away. Um, particularly if if there's a housing issue. We know there's an employment issue because they're just getting out. We deal with that organically. But if someone says, "Hey, I'm not sure where I'm going to stay. I'm not sure, I have this issue, coming back to the community," and whatever it may be, if it's something that you're not able to handle, then when I say not able to handle, you shouldn't have to handle it yourself. I mean, if there are any issues or concerns, we would like to be involved to make sure that things are going that they get what they need. And then what we'll try to do, because I remember this was a thing that we had, someone would mention that, hey, if you took care of them, can you let me know, right? Because there may be an issue, and the mentor has not been notified that, hey, yes, now they do have housing and this is where it is, and that things went okay. Um, I think we've been a little negligent, and we've not negligent in handling the issues, but in letting you know too, what's going on, because it's important for you're involved with their lives, and they're providing information to you about these things too. So, um, so I was where I was going also with that. So, like I said, we have the monthly consortium. We have the weekly reports, and I was asked by the board chair to start reaching out a couple of times a month to all the mentors directly to check in and see how things are going. And what I'm going to do at some point, not at some point tomorrow, Monday, is have a conversation with him about overkill. I don't know if that's too much contact with you. If it's a lot, right? I'm asking you to send me a weekly report. We're meeting once a month, and then he wants me to maybe call twice a month just to have a conversation, check in with you. And he also wanted me to monthly send you out something on paper, basically, to just kind of ask if you have any questions or suggestions about anything.
But
That's 4 levels of contact every month. I personally think that's too much. And I wanted to see what you folks thought about that.
what
If
what is that he's concerned about, Odell?
um well, he doesn't do the work, right? He's a board chair. So he's working from the standpoint of coming in and actually coming in trying to fix that kind of a fix it, right? He's coming in, we got things, issues, concerns that we want. There's a place that we're trying to get in terms of our financial ability to get back to at least where we were before in regards to our staffing. And he wanted to make sure, because the mentorship it actually, it starts with our education, that, and the mentorship comes second, in regards to the order in which we start to work with our clients here, with our folks. And he wanted to make sure that the mentorship communication and what we're doing, that it is absolutely rock solid and tight in regards to, if there's needs of these men and women, if they have needs, or if you have needs of anything from us, that he wants to make sure that we can do that diligently and on the spot. My thing is, that's four levels of communication in 1 month. I think that's a lot. The thing that I believe more than anything is that you have direct contact with me via email or phone. I literally think that that's plenty, right?
Hmm.
Because you can call me, I'm going to pick up in a relatively quick, in a relatively short period of time. And relatively short generally means it's probably going to be the day of or the next day. So that if there's any issues or concerns or anything that comes up, that we can discuss it. Um, the consortium that we have, we know it's on the same day each month. We know it's on the third Saturday. And but the other side of it is for some folks, and some of the responses that I got, the people that weren't able to make it, were it's the summer. I got kids. It's, I have
Yeah,
vacation. I have things that
there's
are
a
going
lot
on.
going on.
During the summer months. My thought was, I don't know if it'd be a good idea to shut it down during the summer and say, hey, June, July, August, September, get back to October, because some people live in warm weather states and it's always summer for them, right? So I wish that was my problem, but it's not. So what I really would like to see happen is to get some feedback from all the people who are on the consort, who are involved with doing this, and if you have a preference of just one thing, or you think two things, maybe I'll send out a little survey and see kind of what we can come up with. If it remains the same, then it would. But he's added two things, right? We had two already: communication directly in the consortium, and now he's added, hey, direct. Odell, you call these folks twice a month. And I was like,
Wow.
okay, at least once a month, twice a month. But his directive was twice a month, and also send out. I forget he was gonna come up with a form of some sort that we could email or send to you, in regards to, I don't know exactly what it was, but
Is
off the top of my head, but it was just to check in and see how things are going. Yes,
is he just looking for more measurables to
that's
present
possible.
statistics? I mean,
That's possible. I think it really has more to do with um just having more contact with with the mentors, and addressing any issues or concerns that you might
I,
have. It may be a portion of having some measurables too. He didn't say
I
that
mean,
directly.
I don't know how everybody else feels, but I think it's been fine.
The way it's been.
Yeah, I know where you are. I can find you if I need you.
Right.
I
What do you think,
this is,
Franny?
oh, I was just gonna say, I thinking back when I started mentoring, which was 2 years ago or whatever,
Mhm.
um, having a direct person to contact with questions, I found the most helpful. Um, in the beginning and now. If I
Okay.
have questions, you don't want to wait a month, so
Okay.
that I think is invaluable and awesome. Also in the beginning with, a new mentee, a person may have more questions. Um, I I mean, I had a question today for Charles, but I don't tend to have a lot of questions. We have our relationship going. We're in contact with each other several times a week. So
Mm.
even my weekly reports, it's sort of like, I'm kind of like, I mean, sometimes I don't know, I don't have that much to say each week about what we're talking about. I mean, he's in prison,
Mhm.
he's working and he's doing things, and so I'm happy to do a weekly report, but it's not earth shattering on a weekly
Right.
basis.
Right.
So
Yeah, and when you say that, so, and that kind of brings me to what I was saying before. You're in constant contact with him. If if biweekly is better, if once a month is better, you can give a real good overview of kind of what's going on. And let me just say, the reason for the reports, because those reports come directly to me. Two things. One, deed. That this is measurables that we're actually communicating. Like we said, we are. They want to know, well, you said that you communicate with these mentees while they're still in until they get out. And so so we have something to say, yes, this is how we keep track of that. That's one thing. The other thing is um I definitely want to know, right away if there's something that needs to be addressed. Um, in regards to your communication, sometimes there people have I just have my first group of mentees, right? So I've been sending information out to some write long paragraphs, some respond right away, some it's like, yeah, thanks for reaching out, appreciate it. I'll let you know if I need anything. I mean, it's gonna vary based on who you have, and for the most
Yeah.
part, other than Chuck and maybe a couple others, we are trying not to have people have more than two mentees. So my hope is that it's not overwhelming where you have a bunch of people, and it's so you got to do 20, every week or every other week or what have you. But I would really suggest that you just kind of, just no different than as you develop your relationships with them. You're going to start to learn more about them. They're going to share more. It may start off a little slow, and then all of a sudden, you have a person who you're talking to on a regular basis. Um, just I just like to make sure I have something on a monthly basis, once, twice. If you have the capacity to do it every week, then great. But even if you don't, if you're not speaking with them, just say no, and you don't have to actually read too much. I know I spoke with someone who was a mentor. They thought that they needed to do a report every time they spoke with them. So if they spoke with them immediately, they needed to do a report, and that's not the case. It's once a week if you have the capacity to do it. If not every other week, if not at least once a month, that would be perfect, because then we can give this information to Deed, and also allows me to kind of keep up with what's going on with anybody if they're having any issues or concerns. Um, Everybody okay with
It,
that?
And
Yes, sir.
also,
Odell,
Go ahead. Somebody was talking.
I
yeah.
was gonna add it also because at the Redemption Project, there are weekly meetings on each of the guys that we service. Um, Having as much information as possible on these guys really helps in these meetings to see if because when an issue comes in, as the mentor director, he's going to need to contact someone else like Malcolm um, or Brad to fix the issue at hand. So having the weekly reports and having an idea of where everyone is at, because chasing everyone around as one person is impossible, really gives the director an perspective of where the program is at and where all of the individuals are, so people don't slip through the cracks.
Yeah. Thanks for that, John. Appreciate it. Hi, Linda. How you doing? I didn't want to say hello.
I'm doing well. How are you? How is
Oh, doing
everyone
oh,
today?
Good, good.
I'm doing fine. Doing well.
Happy Saturday.
Yeah, same to you.
So,
How
Odell,
go ahead, Malcolm.
no, I was just gonna mention something really quickly, kind of like to echo what John was saying as well. In some particular instances, because you've built such a beautiful rapport with your fellows, what happens is that report can be as short and sweet as just letting you know absolutely everything is perfect, like just a one-line sentence, right? And that also lets us know that there's no issues or concerns at hand, and that helps Odell know the same thing, right? So again, it doesn't have to be some lengthy paragraph of, talk to him. He just bought this clothes. He's doing no, just everything is great. Everything is going great. Life's good with him today, or life's good with her today, right? And that way, Odell checks it off the list. When I do mine, I check it off. I have 28 mentees. So I have to be thorough with them, right? On top of my job. And I love it. It's probably the more fun part of my job is actually chatting with these guys on a weekly basis. So I just wanted to chime in to say, if you have one that has like everything's perfect, right? So one liner, no concerns. I think it makes it easier, but to Adele's point, it unfortunately requires all this weird stuff from us. So it's just one of the things we have to do.
Yeah.
Thank
And,
you.
and I also want to, yeah, I also want to go into really jump to kind of chime in on that is y- the conversations are probably going to change more drastically the closer they get to that door. So it's here we go with this phone again. Hold on a second. As the closer they get to release, um, you may have general conversation, you may be, but the conversation may begin to change in regards to, I was a probation officer. I understand, the guys, they get a little anxious, they get a little nervous. I mean, no different. Somebody's been locked up for 30 years, 27 years. I mean, and it was for something, it was for a murder, right? And they're coming out and they wonder if anybody who's going to give them a shot at life. I mean, that we're the ones who are supposed to walk this walk with them. But I know that when those things become issues, and I don't mean like issues like it's going to break them down and they're going to fall apart, but it's they're concerns that maybe they just need to have some conversation about, just to, hey, take it easy, everything will be okay. The good thing is we have people who are working with some of these individuals who took that same walk before. Hey, yep, I went to a shopping. What was it? Deodorant. Went to the deodorant section. Said, "Yep, you got to get some deodorant." He literally just
He
put his
was
hands out like,
overwhelmed, wasn't
"You
he?
gotta be kidding me."
Yeah, he was
He's like, it
overwhelmed.
just it's deodorant. I mean, literally, we walked in the deodorant aisle, and it was 100 types of deodorant, and he put his hands up and he looked at us and just shook his head like, what? Something that why we go in and we just get our deodorant and it's like some of the smallest things that you just don't think about, right? I had guys tell me about just when he smelled green grass for the first time outside. It just different. These things come up, and it's good to just walk. And Malcolm was there, and I was watching how he kind of dealt with something as simple for us as simple. Like that was overwhelming for him to be in that aisle. He had just gotten out there. Was it the day before? The day before. St-
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, still had on his gray
Yep.
sweatpants and his
Yep.
white tee from he looked like a prisoner, right? But
And these are the experiences that shock you, right? Like I told you, the other
yeah,
guy came with his girlfriend, and he just said, "I can't do this." He he just said, "I can't do this." So
yeah, yeah. And his girlfriend did the shopping. He told her what he needed, and she did the shopping for him. But the adjustments, the amount of time, the longer they've been away from the community, you think like, okay, these guys see TV, they know what. I mean, when they come out, the cars are faster, the gas is higher. I mean, everything, yeah, like things
Yep.
that the neighborhood looks different. There's a building where there used to be a playground. There's a playground where there used to be a building, and these are things that mentally and physically they may have some adjustments that they have to make. Now on top of that, many times they're in a halfway house with other people with other things going on. And people get taken from halfway houses into prison all the time. So they're around an environment sometimes where it's not the best of things that are going on around them, and we want to be there to kind of help them to understand that you have support and there's someone here to walk you through these issues and these things that may come up for them upon their release. Mr. Ramo, go ahead.
Oh, thanks, Odell. Hey, well, first of all, just back to the contact with the mentors. The once a week mentoring report, this consortium, I think is a good mix. I think it works well. I think you can probably get what you want out of the weekly reports and this call. So I think it's a good mix. I wouldn't, I know you've been charged with adding some more calls. Maybe you purposely reach out to mentors who typically aren't on this call.
Okay.
I mean, this is usually the same group for probably like or obvious reasons, but there's probably mentors that work with TRP that you don't hear from much, if at all. So
Yeah.
maybe to place your director, but make it beneficial for you and productive, you reach out, purposely to a certain group of mentors. Again, the ones that, you know, don't keep in touch or you rarely hear from,
Yeah.
that might help. That would just be a
Well,
suggestion how you select these folks if you indeed need to make some extra calls. I think everybody here, we probably, don't really need that extra call, but that's just uh, that's just my 2 cents. And the last thing is just regarding this call. think the call is good. I would like to see, just a little bit of training.
Okay.
I'll go through the virtues book, every once in a while. But maybe in this call, you just take one little piece, we don't need a lot, just one little piece. Just give us 15 minutes, of overview of this piece, particularly to, us working with our mentees,
Mhm.
whatever it is. And then,
Yeah.
that still leaves us, 45 minutes for questions and other discussions. So that'd be my 2 cents on the
Okay.
mentor contact.
Excellent. Sounds good. Sounds good.
I like it.
I had I had yeah, I mean, and my push will be to those folks who don't come onto the consortium to get them on. The good thing is we do record the consortium, so we will send them out so that those who weren't able to make it can get on. I've had people who flatfoots that said, "Hey, listen, Saturdays are just hard for me to get on." Particularly we have the same Saturday, but if something comes up, I mentioned that hosting a family reunion myself as we speak, but it just happened to fall on the same weekend. But everybody's not able to just to jump on and remove themselves from their daily activities, and some things it's just not possible. I just would ask people to just make every effort to get on when they can, and with the understanding that we're not going to get 100% participation all the time, or maybe not at all, but we'll shoot to have as many people on as possible. Um, but I mentioned I want to give a situation of I think John mentioned about the communication, whether it be through the reports or calling directly, email, or what have you. Me and Brad had a person. Brad, I don't think we spoke about this yet, but putting you on the spot a little bit. The case that we had with the person who was coming out of, I don't know if it was Rochester, the guy that we had to work with on his housing. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Antoine Williams.
Yes. So we had a case with Antoine Williams. And like I said, everybody's at different stages. He's a fellow. So once he finished the coursework and passed the final exam for it, he's a fellow. And once they're a fellow, nothing changes in regards to how we deal with them. They're a fellow for life. And what everybody is at different stages in terms of how they're dealing with criminogenic thinking, with how they're interacting with family members, with their mentors, and I thought this was an interesting one, so I wanted to kind of share with you kind of what ended up happening with that particular case. And Brad, if you don't mind, can you just kind of how it started off, what was being said, what was being said, and what wasn't being said that we had to kind of figure out for ourselves before we were able to help him get to a place where we had some resolve. And I think it ended up being in his best interest. But had we not done a little bit of Brad reached out to me, and I put my PO hat on, and we started talking. And had we not done a few things on our own, this could have been I won't say a bad situation, but it could have been a situation that didn't turn out as we would have liked it to. So, Brad, if you don't mind.
Sure. So this mentee was from southern Minnesota, a couple hours away from St. Paul, where we're located. That's where his home is. He was in on a domestic. He had like 9 domestics with the same victim. However, the state let the victim stay in contact with him. She visited every weekend. They were able to patch things up from a distance when he was incarcerated, and eventually got engaged while he was in prison. He wanted to release to home, and they were like, we can't release you to home. Your victim lives at your home, and they said his PO and his caseworker said, we have 2 options for you in the relatively large town in southern Minnesota that he was looking to return to. And he didn't want either one of those options. And so he was reaching out panicking that, hey, I have no place to go. I'm turning down the 2 options they have for me from where home is. What are we going to do? And so that's when I walked from my office to Odell's office and said, hey, Odell, I need help with this one. And so we got Odell on the phone with him. And then Odell, I think the rest is yours.
Yeah. So what he was telling us was initially, he didn't tell us that he had turned down two places. What he told us that he was going to be homeless and he needed a place to stay, and could we put him up in a hotel until he kind of get on his feet? Well, as a probation officer, I know that we don't release people to homelessness, right? He's on probation. Probation officer has to know where you are, and it's their responsibility to make sure that you have some place to, some place to stay. So what I said to, what I asked him a few questions was, okay, what's going on, what's going on, and he divulged um that he had family members that was going to be coming in town, and there were going to be rules at the halfway house, like there are at every halfway house. Like you have to be in at a certain time, and there's the regular rules and regulations. And what it appeared to me real quickly was he didn't want any rules. He wanted to be in a hotel so that he can have visitors, and maybe have this lady come and visit him. And here's the thing that happens sometimes. Sometimes this stuff does not make sense. So I'll give you an example. He was allowed to visit with him while he was in prison. They got engaged while he was in prison. He still has the ability to see her, but it has to be in public places. Can't go to the home. Well, is that a setup or not? Like some of the things that we see, you wonder why we have recidivism, and this is a setup from the beginning. At the same time, his thinking was, let me get some place to stay. He said he's not from here, didn't have any family here. And he said his family was going to be coming in, and he wanted to be able to hang out with them and go as he pleased or what have you. That is not going to happen at a halfway house or any facility where they have rules and regulations for everybody. He didn't he didn't divulge the fact that he had turned anything down. So what we did was, I told Brad, like, call his probation officer. Yeah, or call his probation would know exactly what's been going on from a case management standpoint. So, because we were initially saying, "Wow, I can't believe they're going to release him to with no place to go or what have you." Well, once we talked to the probation officer, no, he had two options to go to, and he turned them down because he did not want to live with these rules and regulations. Want to kind of get out and do his own thing. Well, we then had to have a honest conversation with him about, we're here to support you. We want to do what we can to help you to integrate back into the community, to have independence, and work toward the things that exactly what he wants is to be independent and have his own place. But number one, we're not paying for a hotel indefinitely for you to be at a hotel in terms of that, because it costs money. And the second thing is, you had two places that you turned down on your own, that has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that you wanted to kind of just be free. So Brad came up with another option for him, and actually had contacted was spoke with his fiance. That's what she is now, and she agreed that it probably was not a good idea for him to come back at that particular time in that particular area. Number one, he couldn't, because the thing for him was programming. If he had domestic issues with her while he was out, obviously, if she's visiting him, he's visiting him, and she's visiting him in jail. It's a controlled environment, and not, it's less likely that anything is going to happen. But it changes drastically when he gets out. Well, Brad, I'll let you chime in regards to your conversation with his girlfriend, and then what eventually ended up happening in terms of where he's living and those kind of things.
Yeah, well, I had a connection with a place that I stayed when I came out of prison, when my wife told me not to come back home. So I got out 2 months earlier. The halfway house said, "Hey, you got 2 months. You got to figure it out. If you're not going home, figure out where you're going." I had no clue. I had no, I reached out on Facebook to all my contacts and friends, and no one was offering anything. I wasn't begging, but eventually I ran it up the flagpole at the Redemption Project. I wasn't working at the Redemption Project at the time. And Tom Pippett said, "Hey, when I got out, I went to this place called Freedom Works over in North Minneapolis. You should check it out." So I went, when the time came for me to find a place, I checked it out. I didn't really love it, but it ended up being where I landed. And it was an old nursing home converted into drug rehab on the first two floors, in different levels of rehab. And then the third floor was like a discipleship, Christian-based programming, for 8.5 months on that floor. And then they had independent apartments, small apartments, pretty rundown, but they had that as an option for continuing your transition. And so I reached out to him and said, hey, we've got connections in Rochester, we've got connections in North Minneapolis. Which one should we pursue? And the fiance said, not Rochester. He's got too many contacts down in Rochester. It wouldn't be healthy. And so he agreed. And so we looked at Freedom Works in North Minneapolis, and just it was pretty easy from there. I mean, they knew two of us already at the Redemption Project, and they know what we do, and they're willing to help the people that we help. We're in the same space there, and so one thing led to another. Helped him fill out his paperwork, get it submitted before he got out, and his PO said that's fine. We can transfer his case to Hennepin County, and so he's been. I haven't heard anything, and when a person gets out, sometimes no news is good news. So his fiance did call though, and said, "Hey, can you check in with him to see how he's doing? He's getting back to some of those old abusive patterns and behaviors." And so it's probably good that they're still separated by a couple hours. Trying to re-navigate what the world looks like after you know going away for something that you've done multiple times before, and can you stop? And I had to even mentor the fiance a little bit about, hey, you need to put up your boundaries, keep your boundaries, and this might not be the most healthy relationship for you to be in. It's something you got to consider. So yeah, just it's one of those things where it all worked out because enough of us have gone through reentry, or helped people go through reentry, like Odell over 30 some years of his career, where we know where to, not only where to point, but we know people where we're pointing to, and we can actually do some advance work for some of these people before they get out of prison with these organizations, so that their brain isn't racing about that, because as you're getting close to the door and getting close to release, man, your brain won't shut off. You're afraid, you're happy, you're excited, you're experiencing all the emotions, and it gets a little crazy. So
If
Go
I
ahead,
can
Chuck.
kind of chime in here too, I think one of the things that we have to do as mentors is work with your mentee to have realistic expectations.
mhm,
You're probably not going to live, at least initially, you're not going to live in a place that doesn't have rules. I mean, that's just the way it works. You got to kind of have patience and work your way through. You're nearing the end of your road, but you're not there yet.
mhm,
So take a deep breath. You'll get through this. You can do it.
yeah.
I don't know,
And there's
maybe that's
Yeah.
the wrong idea or what, but you mentioned that he had turned down two different situations. Well, you can't just say no to everybody who offers to help. That's not the answer either.
Yeah. And Chuck, to what you're saying, federally, he wouldn't have been able to do that at all. Like I know the federal system because I was a federal PO, but for the state, they allow people to release home. Like he would have walked out and they would go and who knows where. He would said, hit the door. He couldn't stay. Like you got to get off our compound, or we're holding you against your civil liberties. And he would have walked up. They would have said, walk, go. And where does he go? To what does he go to?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think we were able to ask the right questions, right? Get to the right people and help him help himself because he was getting ready to put himself in a bind. That's exactly what was getting ready to happen.
Yep,
And so,
exactly.
so at this point, he is at a safe place. He, I know for sure as a probation officer, because he had domestic issues, like they didn't just resolve himself because he went to prison and they got along while he was in prison. The probation officer is going to have him do some domestic abuse counseling and programming. If he ends up back with her, it'll be after somebody says that he's done something to show that he has the tools to not abuse. I mean, that's he's going to have
Correct.
to go through some steps. And of course, for most people, I mean, and I was a PO, you ask them if they want to do anything in regards to programming. I don't care what their issues were before. That when they get out, the answer is no. No, I don't want to do it. I'm fine. I was in. I haven't done anything in a long time. I'm not addicted to drugs anymore because I was in for 10 years. Well, yeah, I know, but there wasn't drugs readily available when you get on that bus or at that bus stop.
Precisely.
And so, what we get is sometimes that now, and some people will come out and they know they have a plan. They're not getting on certain buses. They're not going certain places. This was a situation with somebody who still needs some work. But we're called the Redemption Project for a reason. Right? We redemption. We want to give them the best opportunity to take care of business and do things right and become an independent, law-abiding citizen who's giving back to the community and their families and taking care of themselves. And I just want to use that as an example. That's one of probably many, where we've had to work with people who've come out that were just kind of not on the right frame of mind, not thinking in a way that was going to be in their best interest. We're here to intervene, to intercede, and to give directives at times if that's needed. Um, it's great when those guys when people come out, they have a plan, they know what they're doing, and they stay on track. And it's just like, okay, I'll walk this walk with you, and it's been a pretty easy one. But we are going to get those who are not quite ready or not quite um in a place where they're working in their own best interest, despite the fact that they may have been incarcerated for long periods of time. So I just wanted to give that example for us. And your example may be different. Maybe someone down the road, you may come up with something like that where you just need to brainstorm a little bit, to try to get to the answers that you want to get to. Malcolm, were you going to say something, Malcolm? You good? Okay. Um, it's 10:51. I just want to quickly, I know Linda, you came on a little bit ago. I was telling her that she's our other Brockton uh, um, mentor that I was telling you. There's four of us, and uh, Linda, just wanted to remind you really quickly. We were talking about the weekly reports, um, in regards to getting them in on a weekly basis if you're able to, or bi-weekly, or at the very least once a month. Get us something, and it has to do with our deed people and keeping up with the fact that we're doing the things that we say we're going to do in terms of communicating with mentors. Um, Melina, would you like to introduce yourself and just tell the group a little bit about yourself? I think everybody on here has been on before, but this is her first meeting as a new mentee, a mentor, I mean.
Okay. Well, thank you. My name's Melina Fehlberg, and Odell, we're from Brockton. I've known Odell for years. And right now I'm working in housing. So any questions people can ask. I do federal and state housing, public housing. Um, and I have two daughters, and I live in South Dartmouth, Massachusetts. That's really it. I'm excited to start.
Welcome.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Welcome,
Welcome.
and
Welcome.
I'll say I'll end this meeting with what I would say to you, is what I would say to all of our mentors who are volunteering. You are an absolute vital part of what we do. This is absolutely one of the most important things that we do in regards to our organization and our programming. When we talk to funders and different people and different organizations that we may collaborate with, as well as um, individual donors, this is one of the highlights of what we present to them. And from an evidence-based standpoint, people with mentors tend to do much better than people who don't have them. So I just want you to know, heartfelt from our organization, that we really appreciate your time and your efforts that you have with the men and women who are coming through our program. They appreciate it. We know they look forward to hearing from you. They look forward to having mentors. And um, you know, I can't state enough how thankful we are to have you working with the people that you're working with. And like I said earlier, if there's anything that you need, anything from a support standpoint, if you need to talk, sometimes this stuff gets a little heavy depending on who you're dealing with and what. I'm literally have a person who's coming out, and I didn't realize it until I started seeing this stuff pop up in the papers. He was a youthful offender who axe murdered his whole family.
Yeesh.
Gosh, give me 1 second. This is my hotspot phone that keeps ringing. What's that? So he's coming out on the 29th of this month. Obviously, it's made national news, that this, because of the laws that are in Minnesota and happening throughout the country with people who youth offenders, some of who've done some well, they wouldn't be in adult prison since they were in their teens if it wasn't something really serious. But he'll be coming out and there's publicity. I don't know if the news people are going to be at the halfway house or no idea what's going to happen with this, but he has a release date. It wasn't expected that he would ever have one, but he's been in adult prison since he was a teenager, and has gone through the Redemption Project curriculum. And as far as I'm concerned, I didn't even think about the charge when I kind of had myself as his mentor, but I know that we talk about redemption. That's a serious one. I mean that, and the community doesn't forget, we're 30 years, 27 to 30 years removed from that thing. There was a picture of him as a kid. And I've seen him. He doesn't look anything like that anymore. I mean, obviously he's a very grown man at this time who needs to figure out how to navigate the world in regards to employment, housing, and anything else. You can Google anything on anybody, somebody Googles the name, and what do you think the first thing's going to come up? So he's going to need some serious support, and I'm glad that I'm gonna have the opportunity to be the person to work with him, and I'm going to treat him like I treat anybody else. I'll be looking forward to meeting with him when he's released and moving him toward his transition. But that's one you may hear about. I can't remember. I'm blanking on his name right now, but you may see and hear some things on your local and national news about this particular case coming out of Minnesota, and there'll be others too, because there was up 2 or 3 other people who were sentenced as youthful offenders that was in the same cohort that are now coming up for hearings in regards to their release. So I just want to let you know. I mean, we got from 8 to 80. We got the whole gamut of people who are coming out, who are looking for our support. And your support is really vital during that time that they're incarcerated, and especially when it's time for them to get released. And I just want you to know, again, I'm here. We're here. If you need anything, we'll collaborate. We'll get together. We'll brainstorm. We'll do what we can to help these men and women stay on track. Right? Anything from anybody before we
David
dismiss?
Brom.
David Brom is the name. Yes.
Oh,
He's
David
lucky to
Brom.
have you, Odell.
yeah.
Yeah. I'll
That
be.
name does
Yeah.
ring a bell.
Yeah, David Brom. Yeah.
Mm.
It was a pretty
Yes.
serious case at the time that this thing happened when he was a kid, but he's he's going to have an opportunity to move to be in the world with us, and I think it's best that he has a level of support that we can give him, so that he can move on with his life and continue to do what we do with every other mentee: independence, self-sufficiency, tax-paying citizen like we are, get a place to live, a car, driver's license, and all those good things. So
Odell,
that's
excuse
it.
me. I just want to say I'm glad this is being recorded, because that little speech that you just gave is such a perfect commercial for what you all do here. You really surmised mentorship and support in such a beautiful way. Honestly, you all really could use that as a soundbite to further this project, and that was lovely. If I didn't know anything about this program, you just taught me so much.
Well, thank you, Linda. I appreciate that. Well, any parting shots? Anybody else? All right. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. We're at 10:58. I got you 2 extra minutes. And like I said, please reach out. Please make sure send your reports. Call me, email me, anything. That if you need me for anything, please do so. If I don't know the answer, I'll find somebody who does. All
Hey,
right.
Odell,
Thank you.
one last thing real quick. Were you able to find anything out about Henry Brown?
About Henry Brown.
Yeah,
Yep.
he is the
I'm working on it. He
okay.
disappeared on you.
Okay,
But
yeah.
yep, I will find out for sure, and figure out a way to get you back in communication with Mr. Brown.
Okay, cool. That works.
Okay. All right. Thank you all.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your time. Have a good day.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.